who knows what egg roll soup looks like, but I'm going to tell you, this is what egg roll soup looks like. Hi there, thanks for joining me in my kitchen today and my channel on YouTube if that's where you're watching this. So the other night I had an idea, it was in the middle of the night where I do my best thinking sometimes when I lie awake, to make egg roll soup. So since it is the fall and we are getting into our chilly weather, I live in the Midwest. You'll have to let me know in the comments below where you're watching from. I'd love to know. But because we're turning cold, we're in fall and pretty soon it's going to be the frigid winter months. Soup is always something that people gravitate to. And I had this idea the other night to make an egg roll soup. So I just thought that sounded different and yummy because who doesn't like egg rolls? So I'm trying that today. We shall see how it goes. The ingredients I thought would be good in my egg roll soup. And I'm just gonna make this as I go and taste and kind of adjust and see how the recipe ends up. And if it's good, of course, I will do a taste test afterwards and then I'll write down the exact recipe in the description box for you to have until I get it published to my website, kudoskitchenbyrenee.com. So I hope all that makes sense. I know I talk a lot, I get nervous, but that's me. And I am trying something different and because I'm not a really good video person at all yet, but I'm trying a 2-camera method. So this one that I'm talking to, and then I have this B-roll. What I'm gonna try and do is just get what's going on in the pot. So we're gonna do that, and I know this isn't a good setup because you can see that other camera I have going on, but I don't know how else to set it up. I know there must be a way, people do it all the time. So if you don't mind letting me in on what I'm doing wrong with my setup and how I can fix it, I surely would appreciate that. So back to the plan of the egg roll soup. I always enjoy pork in my egg rolls, so I'm going to use some ground pork. This is a pound. And cabbage, of course. You can't have egg rolls without cabbage. This is a lot of cabbage. I don't know how much I'm going to use for this recipe, but it's a very heavy head of cabbage here. And shallots, not too typical an ingredient, I don't think, in egg rolls, but I want some oniony flavor, so I'm going to dice up a few shallots. And then I have some sesame oil and fish sauce because I really want to bring out the Asian flavor of egg rolls. And I'm thinking the fish sauce will really help to do that. But we'll see, we'll taste as we go. Like I said, I also have some soy sauce and scallions, which I'm going to garnish with at the end. And then, of course, for the soup portion, the broth portion, I have some chicken stock. And this is unsalted, so we're going to have to taste as we go and see how much salt and pepper we're going to use. So salt particularly. So yeah, like I said, the rest is kind of going to be just winging it, which is the way I cook basically. I hope you enjoy this type of video and let me know what you think in the comments below. Hopefully you'll stick with me till the end. Wonton strips, did I mention that? I think I did, to garnish at the end. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I talked about the scallions to garnish at the end. But wonton strips for that crunchy egg roll exterior that you without wontons and an egg roll, that crunch you get, why bother? So anyways, I had to have something that would mimic that, so that this is going to go on top of the soup. So now's the time I'm going to turn on my other camera and I will talk my way through it for you to hear and see. And yeah, let's go on. Yeah, sorry guys, very unnatural for me, but here we go. I'm going to switch the camera down. Okay, the first thing I want to point out is that I am using my induction heater to make this recipe for you today. I could do it at the stove, and normally I would do it at the stove, but I think filming this for you is easier using the induction heater where I can kind of adjust my cameras a little differently. Not that you need to know that, but I thought I'd give you a little heads up on that. I have it set to about 375, and I'm going to go ahead and also use avocado oil to brown the pork, the ground pork. So that's what we're going to do first after this has a minute to heat up. So I'm going to go ahead and add about a tablespoon of avocado oil directly into the Dutch oven, and then the ground pork. Here we go. All right, and this is going to take a few minutes to brown nicely. I want it completely cooked. So I'll use my handy dandy slotted spatula to get all this nice and browned. And while that happens, what I'm going to do is take some time. When this is fully browned, I'm going to chop the, or slice, I should say, the cabbage and the scallions. Oh yes, carrots. I want to get the carrots out. Oh gosh, I almost forgot that. We can't have egg rolls without carrots. So I'm going to let this cook and we'll check back in a minute. Okay, we're going to add some freshly cracked black pepper and also some kosher salt to the ground pork as it browns. And while this finishes browning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare the cabbage and the carrots and the shallots. So I'm going to move this aside and carry on with the other tasks. Okay, now so because this is soup, we would like the ingredients to be roughly the same size so they fit on a spoon nicely together and so it's easier to eat. So again, this cabbage is pretty big. I think I'm only going to use probably 1/4 to 1/2 of it. We'll see what it looks like. It will cook down a lot as it's in the pot, but that's what I'm thinking right now. We're just going to kind of eyeball it and see how it goes. So with your cabbage, remove some of the outer leaves and then cut it into 1/4. 2/4, and also remove the core, which is easily done by just diagonally slicing it. Hopefully you can see how I'm doing that. Here we go. Okay, and this can also be shredded if you would like on a box grater or food processor or something like that, but something about cutting cabbage to me is just so satisfying. I don't know if it's the crunch or what it is, but I really enjoy doing it by hand. So that's what I'm going to do. So I cut that 1/4 into quarters, and now I'll just, Penny says hello, go ahead and kind of dice the cabbage into small bits. Now I don't know if you can hear, but the ground pork is browning very nicely in the pot. So we're just about done with that, and then it's going to be time to add our cabbage. So I'm going to go ahead and dice up this second 1/4, so we'll have a 1/2 cabbage and then be right back while I go tell Penny to shh. Okay, here's the cabbage. Hopefully you'll get an idea of what we're going for, or what I was going for as far as size and things like that. So if I had to guess, which I will, I'm going to say this is at least 4 to 5 cups of chopped, finely chopped cabbage, not shredded, chopped, just so they're, you know, fit nicely on the spoon. So I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to prepare the scallions and the carrots. Okay, I went ahead and cut the ends and tips off the carrots, and I did go ahead and peel them. And what I've decided to do is I want the carrot pieces to be about the same size and shape, not shape necessarily, but I don't want to have like chicken soup where they're cubed. I want them to be just in there for flavor. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness, but I also want just kind of shreds. So I'm going to first take my peeler. Pretty cool how that works, right? And just make a bunch of shreds. And then from there, I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to chop them up into bits. And I'm looking for a good bit of carrots. I may have over planned how many I was going to need, but that's okay too, because they won't go to waste. Just like the other half of the cabbage, I'm going to use that, wrap it up good in plastic wrap and put it back in the fridge and make sure I use it for something else. It will not go to waste. This makes very quick work of shredding carrot. This is an awesome peeler. I recommend it. I'll link it down below if you're interested. I think I'll do one more. And these, I mean, if I had a rabbit, that would be great. I don't. I can throw them outside for the bunnies. My dog Penny likes carrots, so she can have some. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I have one more that I haven't used. I'm going to see what this looks like. I'm going to take my knife and just kind of run it through these carrots. Break them up a little bit into smaller bits because we still want to see them in the soup, but we don't want them to be hard to eat hanging off the spoon. Okay, that looks about good. Next up come the shallots. Okay, this is approximately, I would say, a cup, maybe 1.25 cups of the prepared shredded and chopped carrots. Okay, now I know like shallots aren't traditional in egg rolls, but I love the flavor of a shallot because it's kind of, to me, a cross between a garlic and an onion. So I'm going to go ahead and add some, because why not? Everything's better with a little bit of onion flavor, not overpowering, but a bit. So these shallots are pretty good size. So I'm going to see how much there is after I'm going to slice them and then rough chop. And they're pretty. I just love the way shallots have that light purple color. and they smell so good. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I am going to garnish the soup at the end with some green onions because that's pretty traditional, I believe, in Asian cooking. So that's what I'm going to do, and I love the flavors of those, and they're just plain old pretty, just to kind of liven up and give a freshness to something that's already been cooked. This shouldn't take long to cook because everything's pretty much pre-cooked, and the cabbage will only take a few minutes to kind of cook down. But I'm going to let it probably simmer a good half an hour just so the flavors have a nice chance to marry. Okay, now this to me looks like 2 tablespoons of roughly chopped shallots. I'm going to say this is probably enough compared to the amount of ground pork we have, which is a pound, and the cabbage and the carrots. I will say this is 1 large shallot is enough for this recipe. So roughly, what did I say? 2 tablespoons? 1.5 tablespoons of chopped shallots. Now we're ready to bring our pot back and continue on with the recipe. Definitely building color because it's sticking more to the bottom of the pan, and that's fine. Once the cabbage has been added to the pan, it will release water, and then I'll go ahead, and what you want to do is scrape those browned bits from the bottom of the pan just to release all that extra flavor. And the cabbage will do that as it wilts and decreases inside. So we'll go ahead and add that next. So this is the cabbage from before, and this is, like I said, what did I say, like roughly 4 to 5 cups of pretty finely shredded and chopped cabbage. And it will shrink down considerably, but that's what I have. Give it a good stir. Combine all the pork, the yummy pork, and the cabbage. And then I'm going to add those shallots from before that we just minced. So 2 tablespoons of minced shallots. And then lastly, as far as the veggies go, will be the carrots. I'm going to let the cabbage cook for a few minutes before I add the carrots. Don't forget to scrape up all that brown goodness at the bottom of the pan. Okay, so hopefully you can see that the cabbage has cooked down a teeny tiny bit, not overly, it's only been a few minutes, but that's good. It kind of got a start on softening, which is what I wanted. And now I'm going to go ahead and add those carrots that we prepared, shredded and chopped carrots. And again, these will add sweetness and color and just extra egg roll flavor. If there are egg roll ingredients you really like that I'm not adding, feel free. I mean, I thought about bean sprouts. I had, done a little research on egg rolls, and some people say bean sprouts are good in egg rolls. I don't recall ever having those. Or bamboo shoots. I don't recall ever having those. Water chestnuts. I didn't want anything crunchy in here except for the wonton crisps. So we're just going to go traditional cabbage, carrot, and meat and season, which I'm going to do next. So while I was trying to get the lid off this fish sauce, it broke, of course. So I'm just going to add a tiny pinch, and I'll have to be very careful that that's all I add. Probably like a teaspoon. There we go. That looks pretty good. And to that, also some low sodium soy sauce. I'm going to add a couple tablespoons, I believe, of that just to bring out really nice Asian flavors. Now I'm going to be cautious about the amount of salt I add next because the sodium in the soy sauce should probably be enough to flavor all the ingredients that are in here without overpowering, but we will taste. And then from there, I'm going to add just a finishing touch of sesame oil. A little will go a long way to really drive home that egg roll flavor. And the final ingredient before adding chicken stock, because this is a soup after all, is I'm going to add a little of this minced ginger. And a little of this will go a long way as well. So I'm going to start with a teaspoon and see how this smells. If I can smell it, then I know it's enough. If I can't smell it, then I will add maybe a little bit, pinch more. Use your nose in cooking, not just, your eyes and ears, but use your nose also, because that's a really good test of how things are seasoned. Sounds weird, but it's true. If something smells good, it's going to taste good. And if it's under seasoned, you won't be able to smell it properly. That's the way I feel. It's good. It needs a little something. I'm not sure what that is yet, though. I'm going to think about it and see if I can figure it out. Be right back. I determined what I'm going to add. It's not authentic to egg rolls, but I think what's going to help this particular recipe kind of really brighten itself up and give it a bit more flavor is I'm going to add just a little bit more of sesame oil. Half a teaspoon, maybe. And then this one comes out of left field. I'm sure you didn't see it coming because I didn't either. Ground coriander. Not much, but it does tend to give a lightness and a brightness to food. So if you don't know what that is the leaves of a cilantro plant. Well, cilantro comes in coriander. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add some dried ginger because I believe it packs a bit more flavor than what I had in the jar. So I'm gonna just go ahead and sprinkle a little of that in just to up the ginger flavor. Give it a good stir. Does smell good. I really notice the difference now. And now I'm going to add the chicken broth, and I'm not going to add like tons of it because I don't want this to be too runny of a soup. I want it to have some body to it. So when it's garnished with the wontons and the scallions, they don't just immediately sink into the bowl. I want them to be kind of held up by the bulk of the soup. So I hope you like this kind of cooking video. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. But it is the way I cook at home, so most times. And a lot of the recipes on my website are based off this type of cooking, I'm happy to say. Okay, definitely a pretty golden color. It looks good. So that was 1 quart. And then the cabbage will, again, wilt down within the liquid now that's in the pot. So I'm going to go ahead and add another half a quart. And this is unsalted. So I'm going to taste it and see how that all marries with the soy sauce we added. There we go. But I'm going to let it cook and simmer for about 30 minutes before I adjust any sort of seasoning. But it is looking good. I think it's pretty. Okay, 30 minutes later, I'll be back. Okay, I think we are just about there. But after another taste test, I've determined I'm going to add a couple other ingredients that I think might surprise you again, but I think they're going to make sense. So a touch of vinegar, like I said with the ground coriander, to brighten the flavors, which I think this will do that for sure. And also it's going to mimic what I think is maybe missing is from my recollections of egg rolls is the sweet and sour sauce. So we're going to add this for the sour, probably like a teaspoon, maybe 2. There's 1. We'll go 1.5. And another really odd ingredient, apricot jam. Oh my gosh, she's lost her mind, right, people? I guess I probably have, but I'm going to go ahead and add, looks like about a tablespoon. I'll do a tablespoon and a half. Going to add that little bit of additional sweet that I think is missing, and I will let you know in a minute. After I turn the heat down, let it cool for a minute, make myself a bowl. Cross your fingers. Hope it's good. And hope I can edit this video down so it's not too long and boring. Okay, here we go. I have my ladle for the taste test. And I'm just going to scoop a little bit out, put it in a nice bowl without spilling hot soup all over myself and my kitchen. And now for a little garnish of chopped scallions. Oh, that's pretty. And wonton strips. There we go. Now, to me, if that doesn't look like egg roll soup. Who knows what egg roll soup looks like, but I'm going to tell you, this is what egg roll soup looks like. Let me give it a taste for you, and I'll give you my honest opinion, whether you should try it at home. If I go back to the drawing board, I have some cabbage, pork, wonton, green onion, and carrots, all in this 1 spoon. Here we go. I'm afraid it's too hot, but I'm going to go take one. Take one for you. It's good. It is good. It's very, very good. Now, is it like an egg roll you're going to get at the, your favorite takeout place? No. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe once it cools down, the flavors will marry a little bit more. I'm not sure, but very tasty. I'm glad I made it. I think you'll see where I was going with this. And yeah, I think it's a winner. It's not authentic egg roll flavor, but it is yummy egg roll flavor. And I do think that little bit of apricot jam and the rice wine vinegar helped a little bit. So thumbs up for that. So I hope you guys like this recipe, the way I kind of went about it, a little different. And I hope you'll give this recipe a try. As I said, I'll write it in the description box below. So let me know what you think. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Hopefully thumbs up, but if you want to give me a thumbs down, that's okay too. Any engagement is good engagement, I suppose. But consider like, subscribe, share this video, share this recipe, and come back again because I really appreciate you being here and I really like making you food. So come for dinner. Take care. Have a great day.